Ukraine continues to defend its independence, and there is some news for today. Before we begin, please don't forget to like this video, please write some comments and subscribe our channel to show your support for the Ukrainian people. The Russian occupiers stormed Klishchiivka and Andriivka, trying to regain their lost positions, but all counterattacks were unsuccessful. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian Armed Forces, thanks to unique shock drones, hit the Russian enemy's deep rear in Donetsk region. As a result, Uragan and Grad MLRS, Russians' artillery, and the logistics center of the Russian army were damaged. The Ukrainian drones reached as far as the Popasna area. Also on the second line of defense on the Bakhmut direction, the Ukrainian Armed Forces shot down several units of abandoned Russian equipment. The Ukrainian General Alexander Syrsky showed how the Russian Armed Forces aerial reconnaissance works in the east. He shared a video in which the Asgard group of the Ochi unit, in cooperation with the 93rd Hansa Brigade and the 3rd Assault Wings Brigade, destroyed Russian tanks. At the same time, the liberation of Andriivka and Klishchiivka seriously frightened the Russian occupiers. Under the threat of losing Bakhmut, they rushed to fortify the flanks around the city. On the Staromlynivka direction, the Ukrainian Armed Forces advance has been temporarily halted due to large Russian occupiers' reserves. Russians' assault brigades have been redeployed to this area and are conducting counterattacks day after day. During one of these counterattacks, Russians lost one tank and 2 armored personnel carriers. Actively working to deplete the Russia continues. This Leopard 2A6 tank is covering the 47th Brigade on the Zaporizhia direction. Targeted fire is being conducted at Russian positions. A counterattack is underway on the Tokmak direction at the Novoprokopivka-Verbova line. The Ukrainian Armed Forces brought in fresh reserves and launched an assault using brigade infantry fighting vehicles and Challenger tanks. The Institute for the Study of War notes that the Ukrainian army has even made a breakthrough in this section on the front. The Russian troops were completely driven out of their positions near Verbova. Similarly, the Russians were given hell on the Tokmak direction. The defense forces of Ukraine have been supplied with a lot of ammunition, as there are a lot of shells flying at the Russian occupiers. Even the West emphasizes that the Ukrainian armed forces have unleashed apocalyptic volumes of fire on the Russian enemy in the area of Robotene and Verbova. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian drones destroyed an antique, a 1942 cannon that was firing back in Second World War. This indicates that the Russians are having problems with artillery and are taking any scrap metal they can find. The defense forces of Ukraine have partial success near the T0803 road. They are unable to gain a foothold on the road from Robotene near the village. The main reason is that the Russian enemy is counterattacking and doing so with elite paratrooper units. Thus, now both north of the village and south of it, there are Russian troops who are harder to break through than those whom the Ukrainian soldiers wiped out in August. In the temporarily occupied Tokmak, a Russian plane crashed yesterday, and there were explosions at a training ground near the city, where recently arrived mobilized Russian occupiers were killed. It is also reported that Russian officers are taking their families out of Tokmak and Molochansk. This is how Ukrainian soldiers pass by the so-called Dragon's Teeth near Verbova. The date of filming is unknown, but the video appeared today. According to preliminary data, it took 2 weeks for the Ukrainian Armed Forces to get past this defense. In this footage you can see the 1295th Central Armored Vehicle Storage Base in the city of Arsenyev in Primorsky Krai of Russia. Satellite images shows that the Russians have already removed almost everything that could move and fire from there. In the base was mostly stocked with all types of armored personnel carriers and tanks, including T-55 and T-62. This is all interesting news for today for you. Please do not stand aside, support Ukraine. Like this video, write some comments and subscribe this channel. Glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes.